Hear more, listen to the podcast. Just search for Hancock and Kelley.
The fiercest foe of Russian President Vladimir Putin in Russia has died in a Russian prison. U.S. officials say Putin had Alexei Navalny poisoned, then jailed for leading protests against Putin in the Kremlin. President Biden blasted Putin and former President Donald Trump.
To realize what we're dealing with Putin. All of us should reject the dangerous statements made by the previous president that invited Russia to invade our NATO allies if they weren't paying up. He said if an ally did not pay their dues, he'd encourage Russia to, quote, do whatever the hell they want. I guess I should clear my mind here a little bit and not say what I'm really thinking, but let me be clear. This is an outrageous thing for a president to say. I can't fathom. From Truman on, they're rolling over in their graves hearing this.
Navalny died in an Arctic penal colony about 1,200 miles north of Moscow. Russian officials say he fell ill after taking a walk. In 2021, he was sentenced to 19 years in prison for extremism. His death comes days after Donald Trump seemed to invite Putin to invade NATO allies who don't pay their fair share toward mutual defense. President Biden said there will be consequences for Putin. He was not specific. Michael, your thoughts on Navalny's death and President Biden's response?
Well, I think President Biden is speaking for all of America and what used to be the Republican Party. What we witnessed with Donald Trump this week is just despicable, and we'll just whistle on past it with the Republicans. But thankfully, the president has stood up. Unfortunately, the thought process that Donald Trump has now permeated the United States House of Representatives and Speaker Johnson, who's embracing this. And as a result, will not fund the Ukraine's pushback on Russia. And we're going to watch democracy continue to deteriorate under a murderous thug that used to be the hallmark of the Republican Party fighting Russia.
What do you think about this? And Trump, the way did he invite Putin to invade whoever he wants? I mean, that's exactly what he said.
Do whatever the hell you want. It's a quote. Ridiculous is what that rhetoric is. It's ridiculous. Vladimir Putin is a murderous thug. He's a dictator. He's taking hundreds of thousands of kids out of Ukraine, shipping them over to Russia, brainwashing them, putting them in families to be re-educated. He is a thug. He has killed countless numbers of political enemies. Some he throws out windows. Some he blows up airplanes. This guy he poisoned probably twice. Navalny was brave. I mean, he knew he was going to die, but yet he went back to Moscow to prove a point. I hope everybody's paying attention to this Vladimir Putin. He is a bad, malign actor. He's not going to stop at Ukraine. And if we don't support those people fighting for their freedom in their country who have been invaded, we're going to pay some real consequences.
And this is a Republican saying this as opposed to our two senators, right?
Well, I was just going to say, we watched both the Missouri...
President Biden called out Congress, too, for
we watched both of our Missouri senators gleefully say that they're not going to fund Ukraine. I don't know what's gone on with this Republican Party. They want to surrender to authoritarian. They've turned their lives over to this Donald Trump who doesn't stand for the principles of democracy or even conservatism.
He got 70 votes in the Senate. Ukrainian aid. It will pass handily in the House as long as Speaker Johnson will put it on the floor. I hope somebody forces it on the floor because we need to be there.
Another massive civil court judgment has gone against former President Trump. New York Judge Arthur Engoron has ordered Mr. Trump and his companies to pay $364 million, 355 of it for Donald Trump alone. The judge ruled there was a years-long scheme to cheat lenders through phony financial statements that inflated Donald Trump's wealth. This comes after an $83 million judgment against him for defaming E. Jean Carroll after she accused him of sexually assaulting her in a department store dressing room decades ago. Michael, Trump supporters say there are no victims in this case. Should he have to pay $355 million?
Yeah,
Isn't it political with the state attorney general, a Democrat, Letitia James, who said, I'm going after Trump?
Andy, the kids have a phrase, mess around and find out. And that's exactly what's happening to Donald Trump. For the rest of his life, he will be dealing with court cases and criminal charges that he did to himself and continues to perpetuate. I have no sympathy, and I hope they're all successful.
John?
Well, in this case, the banks weren't upset. They lent the money and whatever. Here's the problem. If I go to a bank and say I've got a 6,000 square foot house and it's worth $1.7 million, Andy, and I want to borrow money against that, and I get a good interest rate because I've got all this collateral out there, and I'm borrowing money that I can't back up with what my assets are because I'm lying about my assets. You know what's going to happen to me? I'm going to be fined. And that's precisely what this case is in New York.
Still to come on Hancock and Kelley, might Team Trump post a courtroom win in Georgia? And our quote of the week, new faces and new attitude as the Cardinals hit Florida and the rest of us unite.